Welcome to the Goal Achievers Podcast, where we interview the most preeminent business experts, authors, and speakers in their field of expertise and provide you with the specialized knowledge needed to achieve your goals. Now, here is your host, author, founder of Goal Achievers International, and one of the top speakers agents in the industry, serving over 5,000 events and meeting planners worldwide. Please welcome Phil R. Taylor.
Well, welcome everybody to another exciting episode of the Goal Achievers program. We're so glad, as always, that you've taken some time out of your day to spend and invest in yourselves. And today we have just a very dear and special guest by the name of Dr. Rhonda Cotton, who is the author of several books, a mentor, motivational speaker, movie producer, life coach, and consultant for the hospitality and entertainment industry, as well as the CEO of Cotton & Cotton Consulting Services. She enjoys enlightening, empowering, and encouraging people of all ages. Her children's books are a great reminder of her childhood. Dr. Cotton has a passion for serving others to help them reach their highest potential in life. And really, that's what this program is all about. And more importantly, she's the proud mother of two boys and loves spending time with her family. So it is such a joy and privilege to bring on my dear friend, Dr. Cotton, to our program. Dr. Cotton, welcome to the Goal Achievers program.
Oh, thank you for having me. I am excited. I'm so excited to see you and to be able to be on your program and just share with, your viewers and listeners what, things that how I look at life and leadership. So I'm just grateful. So thank you for the invitation.
Well, thank you, Dr. Cotton. And we had the privilege, I had the privilege of meeting you in person in Maryland, about a month and a half ago. And I have to say, what an experience that was. Completely divine, supernatural experience. I can't put it into words, but really, really special. And for you to just come onto this program and share your insights and life experience with us is such a joy. And having said that, could you give us sort of a summary? Because if I read your whole bio, it would take up a whole show in itself.
Yeah.
You really have an interesting, fascinating background that I'd love to bring to the surface here. But could you give us a summary of what's brought you to the place that you are today?
So my background is in fashion and entertainment and hospitality. And I started, way back when I was a teenager, and really as a young person in the fashion industry. And then, I grew up and, got more into entertainment and then came into hospitality. But I've done a lot of things. I've traveled, I've lived abroad, I've opened up for really big acts in the entertainment industry. And now God has blessed me to go back to my roots of entertainment after being in hospitality for over 30 years to now get into movies. So now I'm a part of a company that I work with very closely, and I produce movies now. So when COVID hit, then everything had to pivot. And as God would have it, he would always use the tools he's given you. You never know if you're going to need them again, but when they come back around, you just step right back into whatever it is that you need to do. Yeah. And that's what I was blessed to do. I was blessed to step back into entertainment because it's something that I grew up with, that I knew and understood. And so that's where I'm at now. I am, doing that. But one of my passion is, to serve and, leadership. So I do that as well. And that is, being able to give back to others and watching other people grow. I believe when you take and help someone plant a seed and you water it as it takes root, and you can see the manifestation of what it is that they're doing, it's a blessing to you because you got to be a part of helping water that seed. So that's my mission.
That's
to really Yeah.
Well, that shines through, and it's so evident. And I've experienced you know, the effects of your calling on your life. And keep shining, keep shining. It's wonderful, and you know, it's very interesting. You also have a big background in fashion, and a little tidbit of information that's quite interesting is you were the first African American child model for Hallmark cards, weren't you?
Yes. So, you know, that's dating. That's dating way back then. But I was. My dad was the first African American period for Hallmark cards. For those of
Wow.
us that grew up with like Macy's, Sears, J.C.
Yeah.
Penney's, those catalogs back then. He
Uh-huh.
was the first African American to do
Really?
any of those. And so because of him, it opened the door for me and my sister with Hallmark. And so
Wow.
we became the first African American children to grace Hallmark cards.
Oh,
And so I was able to years later to take it back full circle. My two sons were able to do Hallmark cards. So it was kind of,
really?
you know, it was great. But yes, I was the first African American child for Hallmark cards.
Wow. That's great. And then you went to fashion and entertainment and did runways in Europe and all that great stuff.
Yes, I did. Yeah, yeah. And you know, this is the thing about, you know, the topic that I'm talking about,
Yes,
leadership. This is
yes.
the thing about leadership. Leadership is something that's already within you.
Uh,
When we're born, I believe God has already had the blueprint for us. And the blueprint is to grow up and to be able to be a disciple others.
yeah,
Well, the only way you can do that is that you have to really understand what leadership is.
yeah,
And some people get it the right way and some people don't.
yeah,
But when you're growing up, you know, even in a lot of people say, well, you know, you become a product of your environment, you know, but guess what? A lot of people that had tumultuous environments to grow up in, some of those same people become great leaders.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
is that something that you're learning, or is that something that's already placed in you? And at some point in your life, somehow you will be able to tap into that and it
yeah,
will take root. And then God sends other people to water what He's already planted.
yeah, yeah.
And it takes
Absolutely.
off from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, that's what we're here to discuss, really, is that topic of leadership. And we hear so much about it. It's a big topic. Um, but to break it down, is everybody built to be a leader?
No,
No. Okay.
no,
Okay.
not everybody. I
All
think
right.
everyone is built to do something. So
Gotcha.
you have to have different parts, because if everybody was supposed to be a leader, nobody would get anything done.
Right.
So
Right.
if you notice, like in companies, you know, everybody in a company, they want to be, you know, once they get to the top, they're at the top, but you always hear the people at the bottom, because the leadership is not great, complaining about the person at the top.
Right.
And a lot of times it's just by who you know is how some people get placed in leadership. Not that
Right.
they understand how to lead, but they just have a connect with someone that can help them become that for financial gain for most of the part, because it has nothing else. You have to love people in a way that you can love the shakes out of them, even when they're crazy and you
Yeah.
want to have nothing to do with them, but
Yeah.
you can still lead them and they can still believe in the vision that you have.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no, everybody's not created. They're not born to be leaders, you know?
So
It's,
for the sake of our listeners, how does someone know whether they are a leader or not? And if somebody deeply inside says, "Well, leadership is really not my strength. I know I'm not really a leader," what can they derive in terms of listening to this program in terms of the subject of leadership?
well, the leadership is just, how are you leading your life?
Uh huh.
So let's say that
Gotcha.
it's not about leading people all the time,
Right.
but how are you leading yourself in your own life?
Yes.
Are you doing the things that's needed in order for you to be successful? You know, when I was growing up, you know, I've always been a person to just do whatever needed to be done. You know, leadership to me at the time of growing up was being able to go to school. You're making sure you're getting the grades, because it's not about your parents telling you, hey, make sure your homework's done. You already understand that there's a outcome that comes with making sure that you get the things done that you need to do for school.
Yeah.
So for those of us that were athletes, part of being an athlete back then, you couldn't play sports unless your grades were good.
Right.
So it didn't matter how good you were sometimes, if you didn't have grades that exemplify how great you were playing the sport, you would have to sit down, or they would have to get tutors to help you move along. So for me, growing up in that way, I've always taken the stance to be the leader. I think a part of it too was being the oldest and not wanting my siblings to see me do anything that was not representing who they should be or what they should do following me. The other part was that, you know, my great grandparents and grandparents let me know that you only have two things that people will always respect. That's your name and your word. So if your name was messed up, then you're messed up. If your word didn't amount to anything and held no value, then that was messed up. So great leaders have to be able to use their name, and it has to be in good standing. And then whatever they say has to be in good standing. And this is how you get people to follow you and to know that whatever you say or whatever you do, that you're being authentically you. But that's how I learned it, because of the things that I was seeing growing up. And then me knowing that I needed to make sure that I did certain things in order for me to do whatever it is that I might have wanted to do or asked to do. And you know, as I went on and got into high school and I started working, I've always been in leadership. And it wasn't something that I was trying to do. It was just a natural progression for me because of the way that I was being raised. So I could not allow somebody that didn't know how to count to try to tell me how to count.
Yeah.
I I couldn't allow anybody that did not know how to do the task to tell me how to do the task.
Right. Right. Right.
So my whole thing of growing up was you lead by example.
That's right.
And so that's what I did. I've always led by example.
Yeah.
And so sometimes people are shocked. They're like, you're doing that? Why are you doing that? You don't have to do it. It doesn't matter if I have to or not. I have to lead by example, because how can I give you my vision if I don't understand the vision? So I have to do that. So I've done this all my life. And I've been blessed to have some horrible leaders. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
So when you get people that are not good leaders, then you learn from that. You don't complain about it. You just learn and take those nuggets with you. So as you continue on in your career, you already know, I got a list of things that I want to make sure that I'm not doing, because I understand how it affected me when I was sitting under someone that was not a good leader. So that's why I can say everybody's not supposed to be a leader.
Right.
You lead yourself in your life, but to lead other people and to get other people to where they need to go. Because see, great leaders don't worry about how much they're progressing. What you worry about is the people under you and if they're progressing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not a great leader because I'm just constantly sitting here at the top.
Yeah.
No, great leaders show that they are great because the people at the bottom are coming up.
Right. Right.
Now they're moving on and they're accomplishing the things that they need to. They're doing the stuff that they would like to do. Or you may see something in someone that they've never seen in themselves.
Yeah.
And help them cultivate the leadership. Why? Because it's already in them. They just got to use the right tools to get there.
When you think of leadership, who are the people that come to your mind in terms of exemplary leading individuals?
Well, for me, it's everybody in my family.
Right.
all
Okay.
of my great grandparents, my grandparents, my parents, aunts and uncles. I mean, everybody was a leader. A lot of them were entrepreneurs. We went into school districts, we ministers, government, councilmen, councilwomen, just everyone in my family on both sides of my family have always showed what great leadership is. People that I look at now, looking at some of the presidents were great leaders. They may have made some mistakes, but that's a risk. Great leaders take risks. They're risk takers. It don't always come out right. Even in life, I've been a risk taker. There's things that I've invested in and, it didn't work out.
Yeah.
But if I never would have took the risk to invest, then I wouldn't have known, and then there's a risk that it may just work out,
Right.
And so you do what you do because it's what's inside of you, There's lots of people that I work with, especially in hospitality, that I've had great leaders. Some of my GMs, the VPs of those companies were great leaders, and they exemplified what being a leader is. And I remember here in the DMV when we were opening up the Marriott Marquis for Marriott, and my GM and my residence manager, we just had there was this huge meeting that we were having before we actually went into the building to start preparing the building to open up. And we had someone that came in and did those personality tests, Myers-Briggs. Yeah. And so it tells you it tells you a lot. You're answering those questions, but you don't really understand why the questions and how they come, and they give you different scenarios and, revamp the questions differently all the time. But when she broke it down in groups of 4 in regards to who was in what place, even the person that was my director at the time, he was like bugging out, like, what in the world? But it was only in the group of 4 that I was in, it was only me, my GM, my residential manager, and I think the director over sales, and maybe one other person. We were the only one in this one class group, and it was because we all thought alike. So it didn't matter that I was not at the top, but that showed me that I was right where I was supposed to be, that my leadership style and skill set was definitely one that I could be at the top of any corporate if I choose to.
Right.
And so from that day, that also kind of confirmed and helped me realize that, hey, but these are the things that, seeing the people that I've been blessed to be around and work with, watching their leadership style and how they do things. And, one of the things that a lot of people have to understand, even though you have a certain leadership style, over time, you will have to change because you won't be able to carry what you had back then into the present or even into the future if you're still trying to be a successful leader.
Right. So adaptability is what you're talking about.
Most definitely, yes.
Yeah. So just trying that again, this is a large topic. What would you be able to describe those 4 basic leadership styles?
So 4 basic leadership styles I have is one is the autocratic leadership.
Okay. Yeah.
And let me put my readers on so that I can have this. And that leadership is makes decisions without much input from a team. So they're basically just making the decisions and, do whatever needs to be done. And people that do that, normally you really you're a very good critical thinking and decision making person in order to do that. Because you don't need the team's input, and especially when addressing urgent situations, you got to be able to think on your feet. The other leadership style is a democratic leadership, and that person has the decision making involves input from team members, fostering collaboration. So a person like that is always going to want to be the lead, but democratically, as if, when you're getting people that have already bought into the vision that you have. And so now, to make sure that you're staying the course, then you invite them into whatever it is that you're going to do, because you want to have input to make sure that you're going the right direction.
Right.
Another one is called transformational leadership. They are the people that inspire and motivate through a compelling vision, encouraging creativity and growth. So, say for a lot of these companies like Google, for example, you have Facebook, a lot of the social media people, their transformational leadership style is, for the most part, because why? They're wanting people that have these different skill sets to have input on what they're doing, because
Right.
now it helps the brand grow. It's just not staying still in one place, but the brand is growing and the creativity. And then when people feel that they're adding value to their job and what they're doing, then they're buying in and they're willing to do more.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing about transformational leadership.
Gotcha.
Transactional leadership involves structure, exchange of rewards and punishments based on performance. Now, this is something that we have probably too many people that do this, because they're always the structure. So these are people that don't see gray. It's either black or white, but there can't be any gray at anywhere because now they can't focus.
Right.
So these are people that just see black and white, and it's either good or bad. And then if it's not so good, then there's consequences quickly.
Right.
Because this is how they're justifying their leadership. So it's transactional. It's not a thing that they are really focused on making sure that the people that they're leading is good, but they just wanting to make sure that what they want is done. And then a couple of more is a servant leadership. This is someone that not just a leader, but they're also prioritizing serving and supporting the people that are supporting them.
Sure.
And this is what we don't have enough of.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't have enough people that, have a heart to serve the people that are serving them, their customers. I always used to say, if my team is good, then my customers will be great.
Right.
But if my team is not good, then my customers are going to be hostile.
Right.
Because they're not going to be happy. They're not receiving the service they need. They don't want to hear anything. A lot of times you have people in customer service that, deal with the call center, and they're always talking about how, the client or the customer is upset and just going off. And then, they're doing the best they can. But then there's some people that work in the call center, and because the leadership is horrible, then they have horrible customer service.
Yeah, right.
So you calling and you're trying to get some answers, and they're so lackadaisical in their response and their concern for you. They may have you repeat it again. That lets you know that they're not paying attention. They say, well, I don't know the answer. You're going to have to, they just put you off really bad. Well, then I understand. That's your leadership.
Yeah.
What you're seeing at work is what you're doing a lot of times. So if your leadership is not coming and trying to make sure you have everything you need to understand how to handle, how to take care of and nurture your customer, you're not going to do the things you can do to make sure that the customer is great. So that's another one. And then a charismatic leadership is a person that is of great influence. They're able to influence people to do anything.
Right.
And them themselves may not even do it, but they can influence somebody else to do it for them. So, they don't want to do it at all, but they have the influence to be able to get people to buy into, because of, however they do it charismatically. That's those are some of the leadership styles that, we have throughout, And some
That's
people carry a few of them.
right. A mixture of several leadership styles intertwined too. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not 100% true. Is there one style that's better over the other, or are they just apple and oranges?
They're apple on. You have to be, I think, as a leader, you have to be a chameleon.
Yes. Okay. That's
Because
what.
depending on your audience
Yeah.
determines what you're going to need at the time as a
Yeah.
leader.
Yeah.
I could never put one style of leadership into play for my
Yeah.
whole team.
Yeah.
At one time, I had 400 employees.
Yeah.
So I can't use the same style of leadership for all 400 because they're not going to understand that.
Right.
Some people have different means and different ways of leading. So one day I can be a person that be able to give, give instructions and tell someone what to do, and they have that capability of doing it.
Yes.
Then the other person will have to be hands-on. So they might need me to come and help them work through whatever it is that I need them to do so that they can see it hands-on to have clarity and understanding.
Right.
Then you have other people that, you can just say or whatever. And the next thing you know, they done took off. Why? Because they done caught the vision that fast. So they don't need you to finish it. They just go do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to be able to adapt to each individual because everybody's not going to be the same.
Right. Right. So that's terrific. And what you spawned in my mind is when you see poor customer service or experiencing, really that's a reflection of leadership, and vice versa. When you see
Yes,
exceptional service, that's really attributed to leadership. So it has more than a trickle down effect, a direct impact on how customers
it
are
does.
treated. Yeah.
It does.
So, how does one go about discovering their leadership style? Is it a test that they take, or what's the best way to go about it? You talked about Myers-Briggs. I think there's DISC with different assessment programs.
Yes. So
Yeah.
there's several different assessments that
Yeah.
you can do. I know
Yeah.
over a period of time I've done several, but Myers-Briggs always stays out because they ask you so many questions.
Right.
And they will reword, restructure a question 10 times just to see what your answer is going to
sure.
be. Yes, to make sure that you are who you are. You're not an imposter of yourself. But Myers-Briggs, and then there's at church we have some leadership styles that we use to identify people in leadership. And then there's one that my aunt and uncle I just took with them, and it's called the flag page. And so that deals with like 4 different countries or whatever, and then it tells you through all the questions that you're answering, it tells you what's your strong suit and what's your weak, and then some other things. So I've done that, but I think people should have you find something that you can take in regards to you being able to know who you are, what your strengths and weaknesses are, things that you can improve on. There's so many programs out there that you can actually go out and take now outside of Myers-Briggs, but just take something.
Yeah.
Because if you have been in leadership for a long time, you could still be thinking that you're a dictator.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, in your head you're a dictator, but in real life you're doing something else.
Yeah.
And so it's just being able to know and understand, where you are. But that's how self-reflecting, I think, is a lot to do with understanding, your leadership style. One of the things is that for me, that I realized, what did I not like in the leaders that I had?
Right.
Because that's what I didn't want to become.
Right. True.
And so the things that I felt that were positive, that were, that added value to me, those are the nuggets that I held on to because I could build upon those.
Yeah. Very good. Which, this is such a fascinating topic, and we have such a short period of time to cover it. Tell me, and I'm just trying to rein things in. What are some of the key principles to great leadership? We talked about the styles, but are there some underlying principles that really make a leader great?
So key principles to leadership is like your vision, your
Right.
integrity, having empathy
Gotcha.
and adaptability.
Yeah.
Those are 4 key things that if you have those 4, you're winning, you know? So you have a vision, you're able to compel the vision, you're able to give direction and instruction to inspire other people to understand and catch the vision, to be a part of your team. Your
Yeah.
integrity is the trust,
Yes.
is people trusting your word.
Yes.
Again, the 2 things I learned growing up, your name and your word are the only things that matter, because that's what people will remember even
Yeah.
after death.
Yes.
So is your word,
Yeah.
does it stand for something? Are you an honest person? Do you have transparency? A lot of people say, well, you shouldn't be showing or talking to people or being
Right.
transparent when you're at work because it doesn't look good. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it looks good on you. Anytime you can do it, it looks good on you, because now people know you're real and they understand you've been through some things. And if I'm talking to you, even if it's off the record about something personal in my life and you're being transparent with me, now my trust issue that I might have had with you, it can be gone, because now you shared with me something that's helping me get over wherever I'm at. So, that's a huge thing. Integrity is very huge.
Mm.
Empathy. I don't have to go
Mm.
through everything you go through to have
Mhm.
empathy. We're
Mhm.
all human beings.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Life is going. Life doesn't say, well, I'm going to skip over Phil today and just go to
Yeah.
Rhonda.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, life says I'm getting Phil and Rhonda at the same time. They
Mhm.
may have different situations, but I'm both of them they're going to go through something today at the same time, and no matter what's going on, life
Yeah.
is still going. So
Yeah.
somebody, as a leader, you have to be able to have empathy. You don't have to be have to have dealt with everything they're dealing with, but just have empathy. And then the other piece is adaptability.
Gotcha.
Be able to adapt
Yeah.
and change when things are happening, especially
Yes.
as a leader. It
Yes.
doesn't mean you have to give up your morals and values, but just be able to adapt when other
Yeah.
people are going through.
Styles.
Because
Yeah.
now, yeah, you
Yeah.
need all of those. There's lots of leadership styles and techniques out there that people can look
Well,
at. So you just have to make sure that whatever is going to work for you at the time, that's what you're able to do.
well, just as it's getting real good here, and we're about to wrap up because this is so good. Vision, integrity, passion, which enthusiasm, I think, has a big part of that. And then adaptability. And when you think of adaptability, the word discernment seems to come into play. The
Mm-hmm.
ability to discern what what adaptability is necessary for the time. But we are just scraping the surface of a very, very exciting topic, and yet our time together is coming to a close. But
Yes.
it really gives us a wonderful taste of what you come and what you teach. For people who would like to learn more, tell us about yourself and the workshops and programs that you might have available for
So
this. Yeah.
So I do come and speak for anyone that wants
Yeah.
to see leadership in a different way,
Yes.
and learn some things that they may not know.
Yeah.
I'm available for speaking engagements for that. I
Yeah.
do engagements for hospitality and entertainment,
Gotcha.
because I've been in both of those industries for over 35 years.
Yes.
So those are my 3 main focuses that I want to stay with, because I believe that in life, people need those things. When you're in
Yeah.
hospitality, you want to know more, or if you have an interest, entertainment. You know, there are people that are looking to get into entertainment, and it's not always about being the director and being the producer. We do have other above the line positions and below the line positions
Yeah.
in that industry, but just to know and understand. I've been back in this industry for since 2020. I've done now over 25 movies and
Wow.
documentaries and shorts. So, you know, seeing things is very clear to me, but also helping other people see that there's other opportunities in those industries. And you know, anyone can get a hold of me. My email address is Dr. Cotton at cccs.llc. And again, that's Dr. Cotton, DRCOTTON at cccs.llc. And then I will respond back. And then I do have a website. It's on www.ccccs.llc. So if anyone wants to reach out.
That is wonderful. Well, we'll have to have you back again because you're such a fascinating guest, and we've just scratched the surface, really, of a really profound topic. And you're such a delightful and gifted individual. So you're welcome back anytime, Dr.
Oh,
Rhonda.
anytime you need me, I'm here.
Oh, that's great. Well, as we sign off, we'd just like to remind our guests, if you like what you're hearing and seeing, please feel free to like, subscribe, share. Being part of this community means so much to us, and we like to spread the knowledge out to really the universe, as you can see back there. But that's wonderful. If there's one takeaway, Dr. Rhonda, from what we talked about today, what would that
be? To the listeners, be your true and authentic self.
Yeah.
Be good to yourself, be kind to yourself, and then just listen to yourself. You will tell you who you want to be and go from there.
Love that. That deserves a deep pause, and I think that's a wonderful way to close things off. Let us think about that. How can we be our most authentic self? And that's very powerful, and you articulated that so well. So, Dr. Rhonda, thank you for being on our program. God bless you.
Oh, thank you.
We'll be following your work with great interest. So, until next time, we wish you well. Look forward to talking with you again.
You've been listening to the Goal Achievers podcast with professional speaking agent Phil R. Taylor. For free access to all Phil's resources and interviews, please visit myspeakersource.com. Or if you are an event or meeting planner and would like more information on how we can equip you with the perfect speakers to make your event a huge success, please email us at speakers@myspeakersource.com or give us a call at 407-900-2427. This has been a My Speaker Source production. On behalf of Phil R. Taylor and the entire team, we wish you a blessed day as you pursue the achievement of your dreams and goals.
There's a reason for the sunshine sky. There's a reason why I'm feeling so high. Must be the season when that love light shines all around us. So let that feeling grab you deep inside, send you reeling where your love can't hide, and then go stealing through the moonlit nights with your lover. Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show.